We're gonna learn how to do the basic proportion of a human's face. We start off the drawing with a simple circle, and to draw a perfect circle without any tool, I just mark the center point of the circle and then I lay down my little finger on the paper and I just hold my hand in the same position and turn the paper all around to 360 degrees. The next step is to draw a straight vertical line in the center of the circle. So I just use the edge of my paper as an extension for me to work like with a ruler. So I put my little finger on the edge of the paper and then I draw the center line with the same amount of distance to the edge. Now we have this point, which is actually the height of the eyes. And now we double the size to the top of the circle underneath it. And we use our pencil to measure the distance and we copy it down under here. And this point represents the chin. So this is the point of the center of the lip, and underneath we have the lower lip. The edge of the circle just represents the nose. And we basically start to mark the center point of each half of the head on the right side and on the left side. And the tip of the nose is just the point where the circle and the center line crosses each other. The width at all is just from pupil to pupil. The height of the ear is basically between the line of the eyes and the line of the nose. One quick tip that I have for you is that the pupil is cut off a little bit by the upper lid. As you can see, the circle of the pupil doesn't go all around. It's just a little bit cut off at the upper side. And now when we draw the other side of the face, this is the point where most of the people make a common mistake. Like they are thinking the other side of the half has to be mirrored from the right side, which isn't correct. I just remind myself that the proportion of a drawing is just like the structure of an architecture building. Like if the structure isn't correct, the house at all will not stand as tall as it is at the end. So without learning the proportions in a correct way, your face will not look exactly correct. And of course, the goal of everyone is to draw the face in a realistic or natural looking way. And the base of a natural look is just to nail the proportions.
Let's strip away the facial features and structures. And then we'll have this. We'll have 1, a circle, 2, guidelines, 3, a mask, and 4, the neck and shoulders. When I start drawing a face, I'll usually start with the skull first. This is the circle. This helps with planning out the size and the proportion of the head. The horizontal line is the eye line. This line keeps track of where you'll add eyes and other facial features that are in line with the eyes, like the eyebrows and ears. The next shape I will add is the face. I like to imagine this shape as a mask. It will have a slight curve outwards and then in. The mask can be practiced by imagining a bent piece of paper. Have a look at the position of the mask. It doesn't sit the entire skull. It's about halfway. And then the easiest shape to add is the neck. I imagine this as a cylinder that attaches to the bottom and the middle of the skull or face. Something that I see a lot of people forget is that the chin has an underside. See here, in this angle the face is a lot smaller because you can see a lot less of it. But in this angle the skull is more visible because the face is turned more away from the viewer. So imagine the face like a geometric object, like a dice. The forehead comes down onto the eyebrow line, which dips inwards for the eye socket. Then it flows down to the chin and jaw area. And from different angles, these will be more visible. Honestly, to get to know these shapes, doing lots of studies with lighting, so using grayscale to highlight where the darkest parts and lightest parts are, I have simplified the structure beneath, but I have exaggerated the eyes. Something that I do is I like to break down how other artists style their facial structures. These are just building blocks to be able to learn to draw faces and get comfortable.
I've always said my time for this warm-up for about 30 minutes because I always challenge myself to sketch faster. It's like a practice that I always do every day. Even for 10 minutes, for example, before I eat my breakfast, I sketch first, and that's after I do journaling in the morning. It's a very great practice when you want to become more familiar with the techniques, whatever they are, whatever you use. Just show up every day. After successfully drawing a circle, I draw this vertical line on the side. Then I draw these 3 lines to divide the face into thirds where the eyebrows, nose, and jaw are.
First, draw a circle. Try to make your construction lines as light as possible. Next, make a line through the center vertically and horizontally. Measure half the circle's diameter and add it to the bottom to get the chin. Split the bottom section of the face in half and then in half again. Let's do the same thing with the top portion. These lines are for the eyes, nose, lips, and hair. I'm just gonna give this guy some thick eyebrows, not too curved, and keeping them close to the eyes for a calm facial expression. For the mouth, draw your boundary lines coming from the center of each eye. Directly below the nose, draw a triangle that stretches down to the line labeled lips. Place your cupid's bow a fair distance from the nose. Below that, draw the opening of the mouth while staying within the boundaries. Define the corners of the mouth, and then connect them to the cupid's bow to form the top lip. At the triangle's base, draw the bottom lip. Males tend to have hairlines that are very angular and well-defined. You can make someone look skinnier by defining their cheeks. I think males generally have less prominent lips, so let's remove a layer of graphite to make the mouth really subtle. If you want your character to look more chill and relaxed, make the eyes narrower so you can see less of the iris. I really like how chill he looks now. Let's draw a female face. This time, draw the chin a little higher. I usually like to draw females with narrow faces and small chins. Let's give her a pair of thin, curvy eyebrows. Compared to the face on the left, the lines used to draw her nose are much more smooth. No sharp angles. It's also more narrow. I think the reason she looks so sad and angry is because her eyes are squeezed together at the ends. So let's open those eyes right up. That is so much better. Try to exaggerate features way beyond their boundaries and push the limits to see what you can create. Everyone's face is different, so don't be afraid to make things bigger, smaller, shorter, longer, or even further apart. The options are limitless. At the end of the day, don't take yourself too seriously. Just have fun and don't be afraid to venture off the path. A fun exercise you can do is to trace over a few photographs until you familiarize yourself with the proportions.
Whoa! Alright guys, do your faces look like poop? We're going to be going at a very fast pace for this, and we are only using lines and very basic shading. I don't like to use my eraser too much. In fact, I don't think I erased anything that was on this page. 3/4 front view, 3/4 side view, a back view, and this skull right here is probably the most challenging. And it's important that when you're practicing, do not run away from scenarios like this, because you want to put yourself through some challenges. Essentially what I do is I pull up a series of Pinterest reference images and I go through them one by one. I try to get as many as possible. It doesn't matter if I like the reference or if I don't like the reference. When you're doing these repetitions in your sketchbook, you got to remember to keep up the pace. You never want to get caught on one drawing and fixing it over and over again. A contour drawing basically means that you set your pencil down on one point of the page and you flow through this entire drawing without lifting that tip up. When you're practicing, you don't want to just do it brainlessly. You guys see how I noticed my stiffness in the previous page, so I decided to change directions and go for a different style of drawing. So what I did is I pulled up some reference images of Disney concept art. So I just tried to refresh my mind on the way they stylize their characters, on the way they push their proportions, and I tried to apply some of that to the references that I was using on Pinterest of real people. And in this one, I tried to be as intentional as possible with my shape. Stylization on this guy, for example, squishes the front of his face and accentuates this largeness of his head as well as his second chin. It's not just stylization for the sake of stylization. And be very mindful of what you like and what you don't like about your drawings as you're drawing them, so that during the duration of your practice you can kind of pivot in different directions to meet your own needs. And one final thought that I want to leave you guys with is to just not butt your head into a brick wall, both figuratively and literally. Do not do that. Do something that you're genuinely passionate about. And if you're not already drawing right now, close YouTube down, stop it, okay? Pick up a pencil,